Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are beta episode 9. We're getting close to official. I think we're getting there. Hopefully, we're nailing it down. I'll just leave it at that. As you can tell, I am back. I have returned. The enthusiasm has returned. I just want to say, real quick, Tony, thank you so much for filling my spot, and I am terribly sorry to all of our listeners who heard that episode at the same time I did, and Tim called him Chris not once, but twice. That was rough, man.
Even after being corrected.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew his name. I knew it.
I'm not sure. I'm not convinced.
Fuck it up.
So, Tony, thank you.
We had talk.
Thank you so much for filling in, man. I do appreciate it, and I do again apologize. But hey, it was a good episode. It was a little rough start, but you guys talked about some good topics. I enjoyed listening to it. The first 5 minutes, I would say, were little rough. So I'm back. I had it's been a week. Just right off the bat. So I went to Seattle for the weekend to see a buddy of mine who lives in Salt Lake City. Was flying up for a wedding. So I thought, hey, be cool to go see him. Can see my brother, see my niece and nephew. It'll be a good time. I'll take a buddy with me because I want to take my motorcycle. We'll ride out together. We'll do a little trip thing. Split the cost of the hotel. Be cool. So part of my reasoning for that was like, well, I have an older bike. If it goes and shits me into the road and throws me into a tree or something, I'd like somebody there to call my wife and tell her I'm dead. Was kind of my thought process. Yeah. So kind of happened. The entire rear tire of my bike blew the fuck out. Like fist-sized hole in the back of my tire on my motorcycle. Yeah. I got incredibly lucky. I didn't do anything. Nope. Nope. I just didn't check the tread close enough, and it was fucking bald. So I got incredibly lucky that this didn't happen on a corner. It didn't happen at high speed. I was going in a straight line up a hill.
I've had buddies fuck their vehicles up and themselves up, their motorcycles up and themselves.
Yeah. So I got incredibly lucky. Obviously didn't make it back to town until very late Monday morning or Monday evening, excuse me. But that's neither here or there. Want to talk briefly about what you guys said about Konami. How the hell are you not going to mention Bend Studios for a potential candidate for Metal Gear Solid, dude? Look at what they did.
Bend.
Look at so ignoring the gameplay. Look at the depth of story they wrote. Like, dude.
It's fair. No, that's absolutely fair. But I guess the reason why I wouldn't mention them is because we don't know if they're working on multiple projects.
Sure.
And we know they're making something.
Sure.
That's sort of based on Days Gone. Sort of. In the sense of based on is they're taking that work and making something original.
Yeah. I wish they would have made two. But I think that would be a great candidate for a Metal Gear Solid game. Also, if I remember correctly, Kojima involvement in Lords of Shadow, which I still haven't played 2. I really fucking need to. I have it on PC, so I haven't played it. But I started playing 1 again. If I'm not mistaken, he did insert himself into the project, and he got to the point where he was like writing the story in the later bits. He had a lot of hand in the later portion of the game, including the, I think it's like 40-minute cutscene towards the end of that game where you're just like, wait, am I still playing a video game? Or, yeah. So he did fantastic.
If I remember correctly, MGS4 had like almost a 2-hour cutscene.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah. Still haven't beaten that one either, but like that's another game that's on my list. I know. I'm fucking dude. I know. My gamer credit's just gone.
Gaming sin,
dude. I know. Yeah, I know. I've signed my death warrant. It's okay. I need to get back to it. I did enjoy the hell out of it. I just never beat it. Also, if I had to have my hand in it, dude, I would say give Naughty Dog Castlevania. Just saying. Like, what they did with Uncharted, in a Castlevania sense, that would look fucking fantastic. So,
yes and no. I don't know. I guess I just feel like it would fit more of a God of War setting more. But maybe it's because of Lords of Shadow was very much the modern God of War style. Maybe that's why I'm thinking that. I can see it.
It wasn't open world the way God of War has become, though. It was chapters, right?
God of War's not really open world either.
I mean, the hell it's not.
The open world hub. They've got a hub, but it's not very big compared to most of them.
I mean, from what I've played of 2018 God of War, it's pretty open world. But that's besides the point. I just wanted to touch on those briefly because I was like, man, how are they not gonna do that? So that's just me kicking in my 2 cents as a listener. But overall, good episode.
speaking of talking about things really quickly, MK11 or 12 was announced as Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Cool. They're just starting over. I mean,
it's supposed to be a soft reboot, is my understanding, but that's really about all I care. The trailer is fucking gory as shit. Holy crap!
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. So if you care about Mortal Kombat, there's another one coming. Shocker. Yeah. But what we're talking about here is some horribly painful news to myself. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt has officially announced that they're no longer developing the game. So that doesn't mean the servers are going down. If you played the game, it's a battle royale vampire game, super arcadey shooter, tons of fun, third person over the shoulder view. It's your typical battle royale, but you've got duos, trios. I believe they've got a death match now as well.
Yeah, I think the main sad thing about it is that it's only been available for about a year.
Yeah. It's only been good for about 3 months too. So
basically, they burned their bridges early and weren't able to get people to come back.
Basically, unfortunately.
Yeah, my understanding of the situation is that the server's going to be up indefinitely. They don't have any sort of timeline, at least not the one that they're giving to people. But they're planning on releasing some sort of voting system, I guess, to keep it original. And it doesn't sound like it's a voting system like, let's play this map next. It seems like it's supposed to like modify the game in some way. That way, hopefully, people will want to come back to a game. But they did say patching and stuff is only going to be for maintenance and stability purposes from now on.
Well, so you wouldn't be able to vote on maps because there's only one. So that's part of the issue there. But you haven't played it, so I don't expect you to know that. But
fair enough.
Yeah, it's I love it. I moved to it from PUBG. I mainly moved away from PUBG because I generally only play VR games with like one buddy at a time. I have never been able to get a full squad together. I'd love to get a full squad together in PUBG. But PUBG doesn't have
VRs, I don't care about them.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Hey, I get it. It's like the only area I care to be competitive. I like it a lot. But PUBG got rid of third-person duos, so it's been me and a guy running squads. It's garbage. So our editor, I don't know. I couldn't tell you because our editor Mike told me like, hey, you should check out Blood Hunt with me. So I started playing Blood Hunt with him. Loved it. I think it's a phenomenal game. I think they've done a great job at really turning this game around from how broken it was before. The auto aim on controller is still wildly broken, but like I still find that I wreck most people in that game on mouse and keyboard, so I can't complain too much. It's genuinely fun. I gotta be honest.
I presume it's very much like most other VR games in the sense that you're playing with other people, but once you die and you're not revived, you're out.
No. Yes and no. So yeah, you're out, but if you're in a squad, you can actually go to revive points. And then if you're playing solos...
So it's that Left 4 Dead style feature, right? Where you can find them on the map somewhere?
Kind of like Apex, right? So like you die and you don't have to collect their banner, but if you die, there's points on the map that if your partner can get there or your squad can get there, they can resurrect you. It's not like a specific one you have to go to, but there's just multiple all over the map. Now, if you're playing solos, they did do a really cool thing, which I kind of like, kind of don't. You technically have 2 lives in solo. So you can die once, and then you can reset and basically, quote-unquote, rebirth and come back and play some more. But after that first death, you can actually... I don't remember what the actual game calls it, but you can eat a specific NPC that gives you another life back. So... at a certain point, those go away. They get cleared off the map. But it kind of like... I would almost prefer they didn't have that, just because, like, I keep track of who I kill, and I go, okay, I've killed that guy. All right, I killed him again. So he's out, is like my thought process. But that's not always the case if he went and took the time and found that NPC to get his extra life back. So yeah, it's a cool feature. The games are often quick. If you like Battle Royale and you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. It's very
free to play. Why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, it's free to play. They give you in-game premium currency for playing the game, so you can get some sweet cosmetics. It's got multiple different classes with quote-unquote supers.
I was going to step in there because what I was reading about it earlier is I know they're turning off the store, but I don't know if they're turning off the store for the earnable currency. It's probably just for the real money currency side of things.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I do know that they're planning on turning that off.
I'm not surprised. I would imagine at that point then they'd probably make all of the things like unlockable for in-game currency. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Because
it's kind of strange, though. Don't you think it'd be a little like, why not leave it on?
I don't know.
They're not supporting it. Why not just have some random passive income come in for people that want to buy what's available?
All I can say is I really hope this doesn't mean Bloodlines 2 isn't happening. I really hope this means that Bloodlines 2 is maybe more of a focus. I don't know if Shark Mob is going to be involved in that one, but
that's like the Masquerade 2, right?
Yeah, the Masquerade 2. So I don't know. We'll see. I enjoy the game. I do. I like it a lot. I play it solo. I play it with Buddy. It's a good game. Recommend it if you like BR games. That's really all there is to say about that. So,
like, I've tried plenty of BR games, and I probably won't like this one. Maybe I can download it. We can give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's more arcadey. It's not as simulative. So, like, the guns don't handle more realistically. You can, and if you want a handicap, dude, play it with a controller. Like, if you've got a controller you can pair up to your PC, the auto aim assist is stupid with a controller. Like really wildly like stupid. But it's still fun. So I don't know, I like it a lot. Let's move on then to kind of an interesting announcement. Amazon has announced a new Lord of the Rings MMO. So the trailer.
Keep in mind that's a new MMO after the first one they were making was canceled last year or the year before that. So
yeah, a new.
It's a little strange. It's a little strange that they would do this again.
The trailer for our Twitch viewers who are watching now.
My child is bothering me.
You're good. Yeah. The trailer that you're watching right now for our Twitch viewers is actually one of the expansions from the current existing Lord of the Rings MMO. This is Return to the Mines of Moria. I've never actually played the Lord of the Rings online, but like looking at some of the expansions out there for the game, it kind of makes me want to go check it out. I think I played it very briefly when it was brand new, but regardless,
which game are you talking about?
the existing Lord of the Rings.
Okay, the old one that's like 20 years old?
Yes, this trailer is for their most recent expansion. Just came out in spring of 2023. Okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get into this game, and if I'm not mistaken, it's actually Steam Deck compatible, and I've considered it.
It's something I've considered as well, but there's some other MMOs that I'm interested in. Wayfinders, to mention one that I signed up for early access, so hopefully I get that. But it's really interesting that Amazon was like, no, we're trashing this project. Oh, hey, let's do this project. Wait, that's the same. It's that scene from The Office where Pam gives Mike 2 pictures, or not Mike. What's his fucking name? Yeah, Prison Mike. Yeah, Mike. They give Michael.
When it comes to this game, it's a little bit different. The original developer of the first one that was canceled isn't the one making this new one. Amazon is publishing it.
Right.
Amazon is publishing it, but from what I've read, this new MMO has nothing to do with the original one. And
so weird.
That's the way they worded it. It sounds like they're just starting over. They're not taking any of the previous development and work they've done to start on this new one. However, it is being made by, I can't remember the developer's name, but it's being made by the guys that made New World. And New World is actually pretty fun. I enjoy it. It's something that I play passively from time to time, but it's a game that can easily be played solo. I think the best thing to compare New World to is probably Elder Scrolls Online. So it's got a similarity to that, and since my guess is they're going to probably template this Lord of the Rings MMO. They're basically going to take New World, pop Lord of the Rings on it, and obviously change a few things. That way they can get it out sooner. Either that, or they're just like, hey, we started this game and it's not going to be ready for the next 8 years, like Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know, but they haven't announced shit other than, hey, we're making it. And it has nothing to do with a new developer. So.
I don't know, man. At this point, an MMO has to do something unique. And just saying, like, hey, we're making a Lord of the Rings MMO, cool. Another WoW clone. That's the first thing that jumps into my mind. Is just like, you're going to stick with the same old dried up format that we've had since the early 2000s. Awesome. That's where my mind goes. And I don't want it to, but, like, it's hard to give such a stagnant genre the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do something unique and cool, like Ashes of Creation, and actually come out and fucking do it. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You said the trailer that's playing right now is the new expansion pack?
Correct.
I don't think that's correct.
It is.
Because this looks exactly like the survival, like Valheim style Lord of the Rings game that's set in the Dwarven Kingdom.
Let me double check.
Return to Moria is exactly.
I could have swore this was
not. No, that's a totally different game. They announced it, and it's basically Minecraft or Valheim, but a Lord of the Rings game.
Well, then I ripped the wrong video.
Hey, I mean, it's still a Lord of the Rings game that's supposed to be coming out, and it's like I've described already. It's a Valheim-ish, but Lord of the Rings in the Dwarven Kingdom.
And our audio listeners have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, so it doesn't really matter.
Anyway, true. But so for the audio listeners, there is a new survival game coming out set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and it actually looks pretty freaking sweet. I'm stoked for it. It's supposed to come out in spring of this year, but it's summer and it's not out yet, so we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, man. Lord of the Rings is a cool franchise, but Tolkien's the only one that's ever done anything good with it. Wild that the creator.
Peter Jackson did a good job too.
Sure, okay, like he made the movies, right? Like decent movies, but
first 3 anyway.
Yeah, stretching The Hobbit into 3 movies was quite the cash grab. But that's okay. I don't
Honestly,
know. I'm concerned they're gonna try and follow the new Lord of the Rings show, and I haven't seen it, and I refuse to watch it. And I'm not even that big of a Lord of the Rings fan, but I refuse to watch it on the premise that the freaking director straight up said, "This isn't Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. This is mine." And I'm like, "The fuck you think you are, dude?"
Yeah. It was exactly the opposite of Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson said that he was making the movies as a love letter to Tolkien.
Right.
And funny enough, Christopher Tolkien, Tolkien's son, hated them. He absolutely hated them. He was like vehemently against them because he thought that they took the beauty and the lore of the world and just made it a hack and slash action adventure, and that was not what the books were about. And they did remove a lot of content, but in any case, like you were saying, the new director for the show, she straight up said that, like you said, but she also added she added something to the effect of we have to modernize it for the modern world.
No,
which is why it became so terrible.
Yeah,
it was awful.
You don't have to.
No, absolutely not.
If you want to modernize it to the point where it's like, hey, let's not have just a bunch of white people in this movie. Cool, totally fine. Yeah. Like, there's nothing. You're going off of descriptions of characters in a book. As long as you're semi-accurate to that, I don't. And in some cases, we throw that right out the fucking window. Look at the new Batman movie, dude. Jim Gordon was black, and I love that fucking actor. But it was wild seeing a black Jim Gordon. I'm like, this man is Irish, and you guys cast a black man. Not to say that like there aren't black Irish, but like bold choice. I loved it. I think he did a great job. But it was like, fuck it. Old white guy, old black guy, whatever. So fine, as long as the guy can play the role, that's all that matters.
So back to the new Lord of the Rings MMO.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, I sort of feel like they really could do like a WoW clone, even though that's kind of what the first one was.
Yeah.
But I would expect them to probably go with the more, not necessarily new world aspect, but more of an action adventure one. I would definitely expect them to go less tab targeting, and I honestly think they could get away with it. It's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
People are gonna love on it anyways.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the new show. The new show's numbers did drop every single episode. But so long as they don't wokeify it and change everything up just so they can be new and original, I think it'll be fine. But you got to be careful with it. I mean, there's so many people that try to change everything these days, like you were just saying. So I don't know. We'll see how it works.
Well, that's the thin line, right? Like that's the thin line you have to walk as a dev these days, right? Is like, how do we do something creative and new in something that's such a beloved franchise, right? Like World of Warcraft was a huge risk for Blizzard at first, like massive. People cared about the Warcraft games. They cared about the lore, and the idea of like putting that out in a completely different fashion, because I don't know if you guys know this, World of Warcraft was built off of an RTS game, actually a trilogy of RTS games. Yeah. So
how many people know? It's so sad that they haven't made Warcraft 4 or anything since. I really wish they would.
Yeah, I love the Warcraft games. They were great. Job's done. Classic.
I say that all the time at work. All the time. I'll finish a task and I'll go, job's done. And nobody ever knows it, sadly. But I still do it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's still great. It's still great. Anyways, yeah, I mean, short of them having the game basically already built, and I would hate for it to be a New World clone. I really would. Like, if it was just New World with this slapped over it, I'd probably be disappointed, but understanding. Because, you know, at the end of the day, like, how long were they working on the other one before it got canned and Amazon decided to publish a different one?
Yeah, I don't know it exactly, but I believe it was for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's
and then to just throw all of that away to start from the beginning again, that seems like a wild choice.
It does happen a lot more often than it's really announced, though. I mean, there's games that were practically finished in some cases, and they just get thrown out. Those you almost never hear of. But typically the games that are canned are the ones that they hadn't announced already. You might have heard something about it, like, hey, we're making this game, or we're making a game rather, and then gets canceled for some reason or another.
So speaking of that, I did talk to my brother while I was over on the west side of the state about some of the stuff going on at Bungie, and unfortunately he had just gotten done with media training for going to GDC. So every question I asked him, he said, well, if you look at what we've said publicly, and I'm like, fuck you, Jake. However, I can say this. He did say he thinks it's highly unlikely Bungie is working on anything exclusive for Sony, period. Like, end of story.
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
highly unlikely. Secondly, he has moved from working on Destiny to working on an unannounced project. So
they've got like 3.
They've got a lot. They've got a lot more than 3. A lot more than 3. So I'm really excited for whatever that is to finally be announced publicly, so that hopefully I can get my brother on the podcast for an interview, as a dev interview. So as an exclusive dev interview.
You should ask him. There was a recent, I think it was a mod or something. If it wasn't a mod, I think it was some sort of official support. Anyways, it was some sort of support for the anti-cheat that doesn't work on the Steam Deck because of its Linux space. There was some sort of update to that to basically make games like Destiny work on the deck. It's supposed to allow that anti-cheat to work. You should see if they know anything about it. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, because there's so many games I want to play that I can't.
I texted him the other day to see if he wanted to come on for an interview and just kind of talk about the industry from the inside, because there's a lot of stuff he said that, like, are the reasons we started doing this again. He talked about how, like, nowadays gamers think that if they're loud enough, they can just have everything their way. They think that, they can basically force people into getting fired, studios into shutting down. And
they do.
Yeah. And that's a problem, like a massive problem. But he watched the backlash for Lightfall, their newest expansion, just in this weird echo chamber. I'd let him tell it if he ever comes on. So Jake, if you do actually listen to this podcast, if you're out there, call me, bro. Let's get you in on one. I'd love to have you talk about what life is like as a developer in probably one of the most successful first-person shooters ever made. I think it's fair to say that.
It's the Call of Duty, for sure.
I would say as a standalone game that's been out for over 10 years now. Didn't Destiny 2? When did Destiny 2 launch? It's been a while.
Not Destiny 2, but the Destiny franchise has probably been finished at this point. I think probably 2014, 2015.
2017. So it's been a good couple of years for Destiny 2, but pretty successful franchise, so good on them. But kind of coming back to this, as you guys can tell, we're kind of jumping around because there's not a lot known other than Amazon said it's happening, ? More
or less.
What do we want to see, Tim? Like, if this was going to be your dream Lord of the Rings MMO, what would you want to see in it? What feature, new groundbreaking kind of idea would you like to see in this Lord of the Rings game? Let's go with that. Let's start there.
Honestly, the only really groundbreaking thing I can think of for games and MMOs and stuff in general would, like, how do you do something totally new on top of the typical tropes and stuff that work, right? The only thing I can honestly think of that would really change the game would be a voxel-based.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what EverQuest or Next was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
And that would be really difficult to do in an IP as beloved as Lord of the Rings, because people would fuck it up on purpose, because that's what people do today. So, dude, it's hard. It's really hard.
I would rather see them do just a simple level, a very simple version of what Ashes of Creation is doing with their player interaction with the world. Like, set us far enough back that we can, not necessarily maybe the node system, but like something similar to that, like, dude, let me build the Shire. Let me be a hobbit that moves to this land and helps, like, through questing, build the fucking Shire. Let me be fucking Sauron or an Orakai helping to build the tower. You know what I mean? Or like the White Cliffs of whatever the hell it was. I don't know.
I think I've decided what I want. Because I thought about it while you were talking. And while I agree with you, I think that'd be really cool to be able to build up early Middle Earth. You don't have to worry about being too held back by the lore. Right?
And you know the cities are there. Like, you know the cities are there, so like let the players be a part of that. Kind
of like the way Final Fantasy XIV did with that new zone in the Dragon City. We helped build it.
I thought you meant like one of the newer expansions. That's the Heavensward expansion. Yeah, that's the
Heavensward.
That was cool. That was sweet in-game content for a crafter. That was fun.
Anyway, what I want to see is a step back to like EverQuest 1 difficult.
Yeah.
Give gamers a fucking challenge again. Basically make them eat dirt for the first 6 to 8 months, struggling to get anything.
Don't have
like the way the first Star Wars MMO did it, where it took a year's time, real time, to get a fucking Jedi saber.
Yeah.
If you could manage that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see you have to work again.
I want one simple change that will fucking piss everybody off. Don't put exclamation points over quest givers. Make players have to walk around and talk to NPCs. Dude, in EverQuest, there was no exclamation points over. That started with WoW. That was a WoW creation. So you had to walk around and type /hail, targeting all of the people, or like set it as a macro in game, and then you would read literal dialogue from them with words and phrases that had brackets in them, and you'd be like, oh, what's going on in Knoll Cavern? And type that out, because Knoll Cavern would be, and there's your fucking quest. You're pen and papering the shit. I don't think it needs to go that far, but like having the actual conversation back and forth of like, hey, this guard over here is
mapping out some keywords,
right?
Like I'm actually playing Deus Ex. I always forget which one it is. There's Human Revolution and the other one, the newer ones that launched in like 2010, and then 2014.
Mankind Divided and something else. Yeah,
I think Human Revolution might be the second one, so I'm playing Mankind Divided. It doesn't matter, whatever the first one is. I'm playing that one currently on my deck. And there's a lot of side quests that they don't just give you. Like, you're just walking through the city and someone's like, hey, baby, and you're like, what's up? And you start talking and they're like, hey, by the way. So like I actually ran into a couple of quests that way. So like that is a really nice feature because it feels far more organic.
Yeah.
Like I didn't just go, oh, hey, look, an exclamation mark. Let's talk to that guy. I just was running along and someone said something to me. So I was like, okay, well, let's talk to you. And I got a quest out of it, and it gave me a couple hours of gameplay because of it. It felt better.
Here's why that'll never happen. The modern generation doesn't have the attention span for that. They need that marker that tells them exactly who to go talk to get their quest. They can't handle being like, oh my god, there's 100 NPCs in this city. Which ones do I talk to? All of them. You talk to all of them.
Like the old school Final Fantasies, you had to talk to everyone to figure out what the hell you were supposed to do.
Yes,
that's how it should be. How it should be.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but I think if Lord of the Rings did that, it would probably fail, or it would be solely populated by 32 and up individuals, which is fine. I'm totally cool to game with some dads on an MMO. Like I feel like leave the kids on Fortnite. I'm on Lord of the Rings.
That's good to me.
So moving on. Go ahead. Do you have final thoughts?
I was just gonna say we don't need more games that have ridiculous maps like Assassin's Creed where there's a bajillion.
God damn it! No. I don't need that. I need organization. I need a blank map that's like, hey, there's a city over here. Go talk to people. All right, sounds fun. And then having the actual interaction back in EverQuest is something like, why the fuck did that go away? Why did that go away?
Can you think of other games that did that?
No.
That's exactly.
Like, why did that go away?
Maybe there's a reason.
But
probably
that's
because
genuine question. Like,
I don't know.
I solely contribute my ability to coherently read to Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, and EverQuest. Not even joking, dude. I hated reading books as a kid. I couldn't. If it wasn't Calvin and Hobbes or Deadpool or Spawn or X-Men, I didn't read it. I just didn't. I hated fucking reading. But video games legitimately are the number one cause of my literacy. Because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I guess I need to kind of read what I'm supposed to be doing and, like, figure it out. So
I would also attribute our ability to read topographical maps to video games, too.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. But, yeah, I legitimately wonder what happened to that. I thought it made the interactions cooler. It made the NPCs memorable, but that's besides the point. Onward to a video here by PlayStation Grenade. I stole this off his YouTube, so thanks for putting this together. This is a compilation video of just a ton of exclusive Sony's coming out. I could have swore I had this somewhere. Apparently I don't. That was like direct from Sony, but I don't know. Anyways, what we're talking about, guys, is Sony has announced that they're doing a showcase on the 24th, correct?
Which is more than the state of play by a long shot. Like this is something they haven't done one of these in a while. They keep doing their state of plays, which is 20 minutes to an hour long of a couple of games, but really focused on whatever this game is. Like the last one was the Horizon one or something like that.
No, the last one was solely on Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it was 100% 16.
What I mean is just like that's the idea.
They
focus on a couple of games or just one, and so you're like, okay, sweet, that's good. I really wanted to know this stuff, but like I also want to know the other 30 plus games you've been working on, which we've talked about in the past.
Right.
And I actually saw something today. I can't remember if it was on Reddit. It doesn't matter. Someone put together a list of all the exclusives that are coming to PlayStation 5 that aren't just from Sony. And so this is going to be over an hour long showcase that they have going on. That's going to focus on their projects. It's going to focus on stuff they have announced, such as Spider-Man, which you see on the thing right now. There might be Wolverine. There might be various other games. The multiplayer Horizon game, the multiplayer Last of Us coming out. And they also said there's going to be new projects that they haven't shown yet. There's also going to be a heavy focus on third-party exclusives as well as indies as well. So it's and PSVR too. It's supposed to be. I read something a couple weeks ago where someone said they heard about this happening before it was officially announced, and they said it was going to be like nosebleed amazing. Like, holy shit, put your fucking socks on because they're about to be blown off. And I'm like,
I remember you posting that and being like, I am cautiously optimistic. And I'm like, all right. Yeah.
I'm desperate because it's been. I actually looked it up. I've mentioned this a couple times in the past. 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now, they said they had 25 plus games in the works, over half of which are new IPs, and haven't announced shit since then. So there's something.
Yeah.
Yet again, actually on Twitter, there was some girl. This is the dumbest post I ever saw. She was like, "Look at all the stuff Xbox has. PlayStation has shit." I'm like,
what?
Fucking retarded, but okay. Yeah, it was the dumbest post ever.
That has to be just shit posting because that's clearly just incorrect.
She was posting the exclusives that are announced that aren't out yet, and it's like, okay, cool, sure. Sony hasn't announced any, but that doesn't mean they don't have it.
Yeah.
While Microsoft has announced 90% of those 5 years ago, and they're still not out, and we still haven't seen shit on them. So, but yeah, that's why it was a stupid post, not necessarily because they don't have games coming. In any case, my point is, I would like to see what Sony's working on. I want to see Ghost of Tsushima 2,
yes,
or whatever they decide to call it. I want to see so much from them. But Ghost of Tsushima, and I mean, hell, what if they're making a new Uncharted, some other developer, because Naughty Dog's already said they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever Naughty Dog's working on, because I remember when they went from The Last of Us Uncharted to The Last of Us, it was like, holy shit, this is new and amazing, and I want that feeling again.
I just want Jak and Daxter reboot. Just do Jak and Daxter again. Naughty Dog, give me back Jak. I want Jack and my snarky ass mole rat friend or whatever the fuck he got turned into. Great games.
I can only imagine what they would do with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and nowadays, dude, it'd be gorgeous, especially if they did like a cool ass cell shading to it. Oh, dude, hell yeah!
Just look at Ratchet and Clank. It's not the same studio, don't get me wrong, but like you can see what those old school games are still able to do today.
Yeah,
they didn't just die because the industry grew up and people started caring about more gore and stuff or realism.
The particle effects in the latest Ratchet and Clank were out of this fucking world.
Everything about the game was phenomenal. It was such a good game.
Yeah. I'm hoping we'll see some stuff from Konami. Maybe we'll see the new Metal Gear. Maybe we'll see a new Castlevania. I know it'll never happen, but maybe we'll see a new Tenchu. Give me the Stealth Assassins. Give me ninjas. Awesome? Give me ninjas, damn it. Yes. Like, don't get me wrong. Ghost of Tsushima's great. It's great. But it's not
Tenchu.
Yeah, it's not Tenchu.
It would be really interesting to see them. I forgot that was Konami. That's Konami?
No, it's not. It's some other studio that I think it was published by EA. Who published? Let's see who.
So I did read something. I have no idea of the veracity of this rumor, but the rumor is supposedly for Metal Gear is Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. So that would be interesting. I kind of feel like they would go with more of a reboot because 3 was very good. It was also kind of obscure compared to 1, 2, and 4. And 5. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. 3 was one of the ones I actually didn't play.
What? According to Wikipedia, and we know how accurate that is all the time, right? But this is probably trackable. Activision sold the rights for Tenchu to From Software in 2004. What? Where's Tenchu? Where? Give it, dude. Really? Like From Software making a Tenchu game? That would blow nuts off of people.
They made Sekiro.
Yeah, but it's still not Tenchu. It's not.
No. But my point is, they made a samurai-based From Software style game.
Yeah.
So they could easily do the same thing. And hell, they have got Front Mission or whatever. Like, I always get it wrong. Mech Warrior, whatever.
No, I think it is Front Mission. I think it is Front Mission. Yeah.
I just don't care about those games. So I don't follow them. But my point is they're making non-DS style games. So, I mean, they could. It'd be nice. I think last we heard from Software, they were working on more than one game, or they were working on 3 games, and I think they've only announced 2 of them.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. If the 24th rolls in and somebody announces a new Tenchu, I will probably have a fucking heart attack, shit myself, and die. Like I will be so juiced if they're making a new Tenchu. If anybody makes a new Tenchu, I'll lose my goddamn mind. I cannot stress how amazing these games were in my childhood for our younger listeners. Like, if you remember playing Tenchu, if you're in our age bracket, I don't know the demographic of our listeners, but if you played Tenchu, you know what I'm talking about. You know that feeling. Like, the only thing that ever came close to scratching that itch was like Splinter Cell. And it just never did, because Splinter Cell, you peek around a corner, you shoot a guy. In Tenchu, you drop off a roof, tackle a dude, and do this amazing Mortal Kombat style finisher on them. Like, dude, there was one Ricky Maru would do where you would drop off and he would snap the dude's arm and then just start breaking every bone in his body and then his neck. Didn't even touch his sword. Just shattered this guy's whole body, and it's the most amazing, gruesome thing ever. So good. But
it would be nice to see a new stealth-based samurai game.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said earlier, Ghost of Tsushima half fits that bill, but there's a lot of not that as well. But because you became a ninja, but you were still a samurai.
Yeah.
So I get it.
And that game functions well as both. It does. But again, I want to say it's a branding thing too, right? Like, there's a nostalgia that comes with a game that's literally labeled Tenchu, right? It's like, just like Assassin's Creed. There's a nostalgia now that comes with the name Assassin's Creed, and wow. I'm very cautiously optimistic that Mirage is going to bring back that nostalgia, bring back the Assassin's Creed that I was a fan of, that I had fucking tattooed on my goddamn arm, that like fell in love with. The idea of like this kind of like warped history kind of thing was just awesome, and it went too fanciful, too RPG, too The Witcher, but
yeah, it changed up.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, Sony has so many studios. There's so much they can show, and the fact that they're showing third parties, indies, and all sorts of other stuff too, it should be a damn good show no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what are they going to show us? Spider-Man comes out this year.
I still think Insomniac's missing a big market if they don't make Spider-Man 2 co-op. If you can't play as both Miles and Peter in Spider-Man 2, I think that's a huge missed opportunity, and I really, really hope... Dude, I'll be honest with you right now. I'm going to put this on the fucking record. If they announce Spider-Man 2 has co-op for PS5, I'm going and buying a fucking PS5. Like, that's it. You and me are doing Spider-Man. I'm putting it on the record right now. If they come out and go, oh yeah, Spider-Man, you can play co-op. Done. Going to buy a PS5 that fucking day.
With that said, this is definitely going on YouTube, so I can.
Shit. Now I'm going to be held to that. But
yeah, no. With after Miles Morales, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much of the game that had you playing with Miles at the same time.
Yeah.
That it doesn't make sense to have it just strictly be AI.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you could have frankly played both God of Wars with a second person.
Yeah.
Of course, it would have been a little bit different because the design was, AI. But anyways, it could easily be done.
Yeah.
With a second person.
I hope they don't.
Would be awesome.
I hope they don't make that mistake. I hope Insomniac. I mean, it's a lot more work, right, to design it that way. Because like, here's the thing, right, is if you're not playing co-op, how does the game function, right? Does it go the old like Resident Evil 5 path where it's just like if you're not playing co-op, he's just AI controlled and he's junk? Like, do you set it to where like Peter is the main character, so if you're playing solo, you play as him? Do you set it to where like you can choose and it's two different stories? Like, there's a lot of options there, and all of them require a lot of extra work, right? Like just a ton of extra work. So I don't know.
It's definitely something that requires balancing, especially because AI is notoriously never the same as a real person. And so
yeah. So I don't know.
It needs to be balanced completely.
I think there's a huge opportunity there to just sell like fucking hotcakes if they decide to go like Spider-Man 2 co-op. Like that'll bring the house down for sure. That'll sell consoles in a second if people were holding out like myself. If people were holding out, yeah.
But
what do you?
Yeah, that would definitely sell even more.
So before we clear off here, I do want to ask you this: what do you think the odds of seeing a PS5 Pro are? Do you think there's going to be any kind of hardware show off?
I've sort of seen both viewpoints on this from different people, industry analysts, and so on and so forth. I've seen some people say they don't expect one, especially because we're still so. It still feels like we're really early in the gen, even though we're close to 3 years now. Like, we're literally closer to 3 years. But since the hardware hasn't really been taken advantage of yet, there hasn't been an engine to do so. I mean, other than like Horizon, God of War, which even God of War really wasn't a graphical powerhouse because the PS4 and the PS5 versions were almost the same. Horizon was a bit different. You could see major differences in the PS4 and PS5 versions, but like Ratchet and Clank, and then that's really it. Like, those are really the best looking games this gen that really show what the gen can do. And Xbox is supposed to have a couple of those too that just haven't come out yet. So like, it almost feels like we don't need one.
Okay.
So as much as like I would probably go out and buy one if they did, depending on what the advancement is, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't. If they do one, I don't think I said do. If they do one, I don't think they'd show it this year. It'd probably be if they did.
Before we go, some final closing thoughts here. I will say this: they released the PS4 Pro 3 years after the release of the PS4. So, just something to think about. Tim, any final thoughts?
I'm honestly just really, really excited for not just the PlayStation thing, which I really am, but just the E3 period, because everyone's got their own little things, right? And like I said, it still feels like we're so new, and generally when you're new into the industry, there's not a lot there, and it's kind of felt like that the majority of the gen. There's been some really great games, don't get me wrong, but there hasn't been enough. And I'm really hoping that lull is kind of starting to get over, and we're starting to get more. I mean, with Diablo and Final Fantasy and Spider-Man and all these other games coming out, I'm stoked to start playing games, good ones again.
Yep. Well, with that, I think we're going to sign off. Thank you, Coin Droppers, for watching. We will be doing a post-show tonight, as always. I do not think Mike will be joining us, but if he is, you'll see us playing some Dying Light. If not, I think we're going to play some Battlefield 2042. I got that downloaded, and Tim's been begging me to buy it, so finally got it.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be back in about an hour with that, and to our Patreon listeners, we'll be back in just a minute. Have a great night, everyone.